Every single person would be happier if they improved their current self-esteem. After spending all my life struggling with this, I found this weird but quick and universal way to boost it. And I want to put it to the test. So I'm doing the scariest thing I have ever done. Because while I tell you the 6 things you need to know to improve the way you feel about yourself, I'll be traveling across Scotland all alone. No calls, no texts, no contact with anyone I know. This trip ended up turning into something precisely 10 times bigger than I thought it would be. You'll see. 6 days, just me and what's on my mind. When I took this trip 1 year ago, I knew that I wanted to start with a quote that I kinda hate. If you're like me and you grew up watching How I Met Your Mother, you'll be familiar with it.
Whatever you do in this life, it's not legendary unless your friends are there to see it.
AKA, if you don't have company, you can't really have fun. Now, that's what I had learned to believe, but I hated it. So I took this trip to see if I could prove myself wrong. Challenge accepted. So that's where this trip starts, with catching a flight and the first of the 6 topics, the true purpose of relationships. Glasgow.
Down in the valley where the roots lay low and the river bends while the water flows, you were laying down with your toes exposed on a rock you found with the morning's warm glow. I'm glad that I found you.
Quick disclaimer, I've spent quite some time trying to make this video as short as possible while still being clear, honest, and useful. Best results will probably come from watching this all the way through, so even if some parts don't seem useful at first, I'd recommend you hear them out anyway. But okay, here we go. First time solo traveling. First time alone outdoors doing anything for fun, actually.
Sure.
Can you tell that I'm extremely uncomfortable?
We have made it to Calvin Groves Park. This is great.
Yes, it is. By the way, fun fact, in the summer, the days in Scotland are super long. This amount of daylight amazes me coming from Portugal because right now they get around 18 hours of daylight per day, from 4:30 a.m. to 10 p.m.
But in the winter, they only get around 7 hours. Still, this is my only day in Glasgow, so I better get moving.
Okay, back to relationships and that Barney quote. Although I do understand what he was trying to say about the value of friendships in our lives, what the 14-year-old version of me heard was more something like, if you are alone, you can't be happy. And this stupid notion is something society really encourages us to believe. We look at our relationships with family, friends, partners as if they were social status indicators. So we use them to define who we are and how valued we are. And we really shouldn't. Don't get me wrong, you should be very grateful for any healthy relationship of any kind that you have in your life, because that's great, you should value it. But never allow any relationship or lack of relationships to define you. They are just tools that allow you to experience part of who you are. But who that person is has nothing to do with the existence of those people in your life. A lot of times the world makes us feel that if we don't have a lot of friends or if we're single, we are sad, we are incomplete. But this isn't true. And not understanding this can be very dangerous, for example, for the 14-year-old boy with very low self-esteem that I was. So just look out for that. You are not defined by the relationships you have and don't have. You are defined by yourself. Now back to my very funny past self in Glasgow.
Now I want to get to the other side of the city, so I'll be following the river for like 4 kilometers now. This is a compilation of all the bridges that I'll see.
Wow, so cool. Also, these snacks look nothing like the picture, and they actually taste worse somehow than they look. So good thing that I bought a huge pack of these for the whole trip. You can probably see that I'm very excited about that. Anyway, in recent years, I focused a lot on self-love and improving my self-esteem. And I've realized that sometimes it's not that easy to realize that your self-esteem affected you. And that brings us to our second topic, So many misconceptions.
Headlights are shining on the sea. No place on earth I'd rather be.
Most people think that a low self-esteem means you are shy, quiet, and reserved. But it can actually shape your behavior in a lot of different ways. And I am guessing that most of them are involuntary behaviors you have never associated with this. So I am going to give you some examples later on in the video, but first, we need to start with the basics. Self-esteem is how you consider the self. And the way that I understand it, self-love is a habit that is naturally powered by having a good self-esteem, by seeing and thinking about yourself in a healthy way. For example, if you think about yourself as a smart, capable, and interesting person, self-esteem, then you'll probably treat yourself with respect, care, and kindness, self-love. But here's where the problems show up, because if you don't have a good self-esteem, you'll think you don't deserve to be treated like that, so you won't. Or even worse, if you have a bad self-esteem, you'll think you deserve to be treated poorly, so you do it. And this can be really scary because at that point, even by just being honest about how you perceive yourself, you insult yourself. Or like my uncomfortable on-camera past self said,
You discourage yourself from even trying things because you can't believe that someone like you would be able to do whatever it is you're trying to do. So you judge and are really hard on yourself every time you fail. Because in your head, you are proving to be the piece of shit that you think you are. Like me when I bought those snacks. Just show the bridges again.
Again, so cool. Now, this can force you into the classic social shutdown and isolation, which comes out as shyness and introvertedness. Weird word. But it can also do the reverse. Like the past me said, you might just panic and overcompensate your lack of self-esteem
with a false confidence, and that comes out as cockiness. Now, I think I still have time to visit the Glasgow necropolis, but that's on a different part of town, so...
In general, a low self-esteem makes being yourself not feel right, and that can make you act like a different person around other people, even if you don't realize it. This happens because you think that if they saw the real you, they would share the same opinion that you have. They wouldn't like it. But changing yourself or acting like someone else to simulate a version of you that you think they'll like won't feel right either, because you're not being yourself. And other people will detect that something is off, so they'll feel that you're dishonest or untrustworthy. At least that's what happened to me, which was extra hard to deal with because since I didn't have a good self-esteem and couldn't practice self-love as much as I should, I was left longing for something else that could fill that love void. So I would try to fill it with external love. That's what most people do, actually. So, third topic, external love is great, but not as good as self-love.
I think I've covered enough ground for today, so I think I'm just gonna go to the hotel. I ended up spending like the rest of the day just at the necropolis, and yeah, it was pretty cool. Basically saw a sunset. The sun didn't set because the days here are huge, but the sun set behind the church or whatever this is. This is crazy beautiful, by the way. Have a great day. So I made the wrong subconscious choice of chasing external love instead of self-love.
It's a logical substitution though. In my opinion, I was different. I was weird. I didn't like who I was. So I didn't really receive much love from myself. But every time that I would make a joke that made someone laugh or tell a story that got people interested and intrigued,
I felt validated. I felt part of the group. I felt like I belonged. On a very different note though, I definitely covered enough ground for one day. And although I do want to try some traditional Scottish dishes, I'll be leaving that for the next couple of days. So today I just did 5 bites. So yeah, I'm just gonna have dinner, then go to sleep, because tomorrow I have a bus to catch.
And with this, I completed my first day solo traveling. I remember being shocked with how easy it was. But little did I know, this feeling wouldn't last much longer. You'll see what I mean on the next part.